welcome to World Cashew Conference. I am Naveen from cashewinformation.com. With me, we have CEO of the Afri Ventures, Mr. Siva Subramanian, sir. So we are glad to have you here.
Hello.
So just want to hear from you, sir.
We are Afri Ventures, part of Keval Ramchandra Group. We are into the entire range of agri inputs and agri commodities. So we have recently made foray into cashew. We have operations in Nigeria, Ghana, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, in West Africa, Kenya, Tanzania in East Africa, Malawi, Mozambique and South Africa in the southern part of Africa.
So as you are told, you are dealing with the other commodities and recently entered in cashew. So what motivated you or what made you to bring the cashew in your company?
So the group has been actually associated with cashew for a long period of time. In fact, it is Keval Ramchandra Group which promoted Olam. From those days, there is association with cashew. So when we started getting into processing and exports, we found cashew to be the most appropriate one to start with. So that is how we got into it a few years back. And since then, as we have been actively expanding our operations. We have set up processing facility in Ivory Coast, which we are going for expansion further, and we are doing also commodity trade out of other markets.
So how different cashew is from the other commodities as you are dealing in so many commodities?
Right. Cashew is a very tricky commodity. Cashew has got actually lots of push and pull from various governmental agencies also. Different governments actually come up with different policies which has got an impact on the trade. So cashew is a very tricky commodity, I would say.
From Afri Ventures, where and all you export the raw cashew, sir, as of now?
Yeah, in the last year, I think, since we started our raw cashew, a few years that we have been in raw cashew trade, we have been exporting to primarily Vietnam, India and various other markets which are processors. Yeah. Since we got into kernel processing since last year, we are now exporting to about 24 countries across world.
So how's the demand for kernels now from
It has been pretty good last year. I think last year it has been good, and initially people like in Middle East we are trying to introduce the cashew kernels from Africa. Initially people have the mindset that African kernel will it meet actually the quality standards, etc. But if you go and see the factories which have got all certifications, global certifications, people realize actually yes, it can meet the requirement. Yeah.
Because once we heard the kernels, we'll just remember either India or Vietnam in terms of processing.
Absolutely. To change that mindset, it is taking time. But we are seeing that actually people are becoming receptive to the African cashew, because African cashew also meets African processed cashew also meets the global standards.
The established players like India and Vietnam have the over edge like in processing, the cost of processing and all. So it might be challenging for Africa as it is starting. So how you want to tackle that one, or how you manage that one?
Yeah, that's a good question actually, because it's a very tricky situation, for the processors in Africa. Getting the quality expectations and getting also the efficiencies is definitely challenging initially. So the cost of operation is high, but the advantage is the raw material is originating from there, which is a big advantage. And most of the governments are also very helpful now. Especially we see this in Ivory Coast. Ivory Coast government is very proactive. The cashew board is very proactive. They come up with the right policies to support the processes. With that, I think we have to mitigate the difference between these two origins.
Health conscious people are becoming, they are more into nuts and all things.
Yeah.
So how you see the market in the coming years in the kernel?
I think it should explode now actually. See, we always see the almonds is promoted so well, whereas cashew is not so promoted so well because it is not an organized structure. So that we have for this association. But conferences like this should definitely facilitate taking this step forward to promote cashew as an equally healthy nut that people should consume.
It's nice to have you.
Nice to have you.